Hey, welcome to Fantasy Football Live. I'm TJ Jefferson. I'm here with the fantasy consultant Nate Zagora. I want to get you ready for Week 10 of the NFL season by letting you know which players should have a seat next to you on the couch on Sunday.
Ride the pine time.
Maybe on Thursday, because we got
maybe even on Thursday. That is correct.
What quarterback are you not going to start this week?
You know, David Garrard this year, he's been up, he's been down. But when you take a closer look at the numbers, you can see a pattern developing. At home, darn good. 300 yards, 1.5 touchdowns per game through the air. On the road, not so much. Only averaging 160 yards passing, and he has not thrown a single touchdown on the road. Well, guess where he is this week? That's right, on the road against the New York Jets. And the Jets have the second-ranked pass defense in the league, giving up 179 yards and just 0.6 touchdowns per game. Not a good matchup. Garrard needs to be on the bench.
Good looking out on that one. Now, what running back would you not want in your lineup this week?
You know, it is crazy how the mighty have fallen, but LaDainian Tomlinson needs to be sitting on the bench this week. Tomlinson coming off a game in which he had just 22 yards on 12 carries against what had been previously a very surprisingly soft Giants run defense. Now he has to face a Philadelphia team that's given up less than 100 yards per game on the ground, and they're only allowing 3.6 yards per carry. Third best in the NFL. Why is this significant? I'll tell you. LaDainian Tomlinson right now averaging a career worst 3.2 yards per carry. He is just not getting the job done, and he's only scored touchdowns against the Oakland Raiders. Well, the Raiders have allowed 13 rushing touchdowns on the year, most in the NFL. Against other teams, it's not happening. 8 tries inside the 5 against Kansas City, no touchdowns. I don't like it, and I especially don't like the fact that he's not involved in the passing game. Over the last 3 years, LaDainian has averaged 56 catches for 470 yards out of the backfield. So far this season, all he has is a grand total of 9 catches for 40 yards in 6 games. That's just not going to cut it. LT, later, brother, on the pine.
Wow, that's amazing. 5
It is.
years ago, who would have ever thought that we'd be at this point right now?
I would have thought it was impossible, but the cliff is steep apparently for running backs in the NFL.
They take
a big pounding.
All right, that's what she said. Next up, wide receiver. What wide receiver do you not want anywhere near your team this week?
Santana Moss of the Washington Redskins. They're not going to have Chris Cooley. They're not going to have Clinton Portis. So when you look at the Redskins team, you're going to game plan for Santana Moss, and you're going to shut him down. Well, the Denver Broncos just so happen to have a guy pretty good at shutting down opposing receivers, and his name is Champ Bailey. If you're named Champ, you got to be pretty good, right, TJ?
Not average Bailey, not participant Bailey.
Not good Bailey.
Okay Bailey.
Not Beetle Bailey.
But Champ Bailey.
Champ Bailey. Yep. Locking Santana Moss down. Moss himself hasn't scored since week 4. He's been under 50 yards with no touchdowns in 3 of the 4 games since that last touchdown. You're going to sit him down. Denver allowing less than 1 touchdown passing per game, 202 yards passing on the season. Not a very good matchup.
Okay, now what tight end should I be sitting out this week?
We're going to stay on the same team. Fred Davis filling in for Chris Cooley. Disappointing last week, under 30 yards. Now he's got to face Denver, who's the #1 team against tight ends in the NFL. So far this year, Denver has only allowed 1 touchdown to an opposing tight end, and they're giving up less than 25 yards per game to opposing tight ends. Not a good matchup for either one of those Redskins in the passing game, so we're going to go put those guys on the pine.
And lastly, defense. What defense do you want no part of in Week 10?
You know, there's 2 of them, and they're in the same game, and it's on Sunday night. It's prime time, arguably 2 of the best teams in the NFL. 2 of the best franchises of recent memory, the Indianapolis Colts, New England Patriots. Both of these teams solid fantasy defenses, but the Colts, they have some injuries, and even though Mitch doesn't like them, Tom Brady's still pretty good. He's going to put up big numbers against that depleted secondary, and then you got Peyton Manning on the other side of the ball. And I don't think the New England team this year has quite the personnel they've had in years past where they were able to shut down Peyton Manning and frustrate him. He's at the top of his game right now. I think you're going to see a lot of points in that one, so I would sit both of those defenses.
Well, there you have it. Those are our Week 10 sits of the week. For the fantasy consultant Nate Zagora, I'm TJ Jefferson. Tune in next week to Fantasy Football Live, and remember, don't turn your back on the Wolfpack because you might end up
in a body bag.